how was it being a follower of Jesus and in the NFL, and were there people doubting like, oh, he's a believer of Christ, so he can't be the best?
I never had an issue with people, knowing I was a Christian. And I mean, Jesus wasn't timid. That's the thing that I was like. Um, and it's a tough, it's a physical game. It requires, and I think at the height of competition, you go after it. But then there's respect, and then you've seen um, a lot of players kneeling afterwards and giving thanks and stuff. But that was never a problem. I think most people, when you when you try to do the right thing and you play as hard as you possibly can, and you do have your faith, I think people respect you. I don't think anybody is not going to.
Yeah, and other things that sometimes people think, if you're a Christian, that you can't be competitive. I mean, when I play sports, I talk more trash than anybody.
I know.
But after it, you're the best of friends. I mean,
Yeah.
it's one of those things that don't let nobody. I mean, if you're a Christian, you're gonna let me go through that line. No, I'm gonna knock you out, and then I'm gonna
That's
help you
true.
up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you go out to be the best, and you go out to be the best. And like you said, at the end
Yeah.
of the day, people are they're going to respect you. They're going to respect you. Just be like Javier. Like I said, he went to Yale. He started the first Christian fraternity there, but he still dunked over people. I mean, kind of looked at them sideways after the game. He shook their hands. All right. Another question, please. Okay, Paris. My players, they work like 7 or 8 times. I want y'all to know, on the first time that he was eligible, he went there and he nailed it. Now, when you're in the Hall of Fame, it's like a fraternity, I guess. So when you all get together, do y'all ever talk about who you think was the best, or is that a conversation that ever?
No, only the wide receivers do that. Only the wide receivers do that. We don't. All the other positions, we just have a good time, but they're sort of jockeying, and it's kind of funny. We we laugh at them quite a bit and stuff. But most of us, we get along. We respect each other and stuff, and it's a challenge for a lot of us younger players to see the older players that have been in the hall for many, many years. The game has clearly changed, guys. When I came in, the amount of money I made was gigantic to the guys who came before me, and then obviously it's the guys that are playing today. The money is incredible and stuff. So, but I always had respect for the guys who paved the way for me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys knew this. I was one of the guys who sued the National Football League for free agency.
Mm-hmm.
So the guys today are benefiting from yeah,
Sir.
from like one or four guys that did that. So I always felt like I'd gone through 2 strikes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I lost a lot of money and stuff, but I always stood on principle, and I always thought that salaries were important, but I always thought benefits were important too. So,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes you got to protect people from themselves. So, because a lot of guys don't handle things well, and health is probably at the end of the day the most important thing. So health and benefits are always something we fought for.
Awesome. Well, I got one question. When you finally decided to retire, was it like a time? Because it's like right now, when I see you're in shape like you go out there tomorrow and jump over somebody. So I mean,
We always look like we can play, but we can't play anymore. I mean, and I played more games, I think, than any running back in history of the game. I think. I'm not certain, but really close to it. And they wanted me to play one more year, but there is the emotional level that you sort of have to deal with. It's like, I've been doing this since I was 10 years old,
Mhm.
right? And then there's the monetary level that you have to think about. Like, boy, I'm making a lot of money, man. You don't ever want it to stop. But then there's the intellectual level that says, hey, I can't play forever. So you got to be, you got to eventually be smart, and your health is important. And guys, you don't know how lucky I am or how blessed I am. I played 16 years, and I broke my wrist, and my right arm doesn't straighten out all the way. When I tell people I never had knee surgery, they can't believe it.
No,
Right.
the way you jumped over people.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
God,
mean,
that's
so,
awesome.
and I didn't play timidly either. I never thought about injury. I never thought about injury. Never thought about anything negative. Sometimes when life was difficult, the safest place for me, the most comfortable place was the field. So a lot of times, but I went out there and gave it everything I had. But I never thought about injury, and neither should you guys ever.
Awesome. Well, I got a couple more questions for. Yes, sir.
When you finally got away from the situation with the Raiders where they didn't want to play you and you got to the Chiefs, like what was your plan when you got there?
Well, I wanted to go to a place. Actually, Marty Schottenheimer had called me several times. I looked at the Redskins, the Miami Dolphins. I was interested in because of Dan Marino. I always wanted to go a place with a good quarterback. And the Redskins had a good, a great offensive line, and they were running the ball well, and I thought I could fit really well there. And then you always want to think about places that you can benefit from too. Washington, D.C. would have been a nice place and stuff. But he called me. I never returned his call. But then I heard they got Joe Montana, right? Then I said, And they had AstroTurf, right? There was a couple of things that happened. They had AstroTurf, and they said they were going to grass. Then they had Joe Montana, right? And Marty was calling me every day, right? Which means that he really wanted me. So I went back and talked, and I loved it, and it's one of the greatest places to play, greatest fan bases. A great family to play for. The Hunt family is tremendous, just incredible people. The late Lamar Hunt guys was one of the richest people around, and he would fly coach. I mean, you would never know he had money and stuff. He was just one of the more humble people. I remember him coming down the elevator, walking into the locker room, and one guys with the yellow jacket didn't know who he was, and he said, "You can't come in." And he didn't say, "Are you crazy? I own this team. What are you talking about? I can't come in." He just walked around to the other door. He was just that kind of guy and stuff. So it was great to play for them. And my one regret is that we didn't bring them a Super Bowl. We got close, but close is no cigar. You recording that? Oh, yeah. It was Buffalo. We were actually playing really well, and Buffalo at that time was one of the toughest places in the world to win at. And we were doing extremely well until Joe, he got knocked out. He got hit, and it was very cold. And it's on, I think it's AstroTurf, and on AstroTurf, the ground is even harder.
Yeah.
So it's like cement, so his head hit the back of the turf, and like a boxer hits the canvas, he was out, and then it went downhill from there. So.
Oh my goodness. Well, anybody else got a? Okay.
Get past like playing behind somebody? Like, how did you get past that obstacle?
It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy because the owner and I didn't get along. And let me say now that his son and I are, really close friends. And it challenges you as a person. And I was talking, I think, Mike, about this earlier, that I was always a good teammate. I won this award. It's called the Commitment of Excellence Award because I was a great teammate, voted on by my teammates. And I won the award one one year when I didn't even play, because even though I didn't play, I was encouraging everybody else to play well. And I said this before, it was easy for me to just like, go isolate myself and be quiet and stuff like that, but I never did. And especially when they bring somebody in to take your place, I never wanted to be that teammate that would not give him all the information that was necessary for him to play well, because if we lost and he didn't have certain information, I would have felt bad about that. So it was just, it challenges you as a person. I always think about just doing the right thing. What would you want somebody to do to you if you were in that position? You would certainly, a lot of guys don't know the plays and stuff, but you have to tell them the plays and make sure they look out for this and look out for that. And regardless of who they brought in, I guess the real testament is that we're all friends. We're all friends. Bo Jackson, Eric Dickerson, Roger Craig, we're all friends. So, and they'll tell you I never held back any information or tried to help them out at all. So, or tried not to help them out, rather.
All right, TJ.
What would you be doing if you weren't in the NFL?
I never thought about that. That was my, we should all have a backup plan. But for some reason, I knew it was going to happen. Do you guys understand when you want something so badly, you start to see your dream and you take shape and form? And I started to flex muscles in my dream, and it started to become reality. Everything that I thought of actually happened. And what happens at a Pop Warner level, it first started when I was playing defensive back, right? I was really good, actually. They would run the ball my way, they would all get stuffed, and then I would get no more action, right? So I knew I was actually, and then the only other time I played running back, I actually scored 30 touchdowns. I had 11. Never played running back after that again, but I knew I was pretty good then. And this is a story, guys. When I was 13 years old, now, I don't know how you guys feel about where you guys live, but sometimes you think you're, sort of junior varsity compared to another area. Well, I grew up in San Diego, and we thought we were like junior varsity compared to Los Angeles, right? LA was like big time, right? Compton, right? Oh, yeah. And so the Compton Comets came down to play us in San Diego, and we beat them down there. Now, the oldest age was supposed to be 13. Some of the guys looked like they were 15 and 16, right? But we beat them down there. Now we're going to go to Los Angeles and play them, right? And I know they have gang members and everybody in the stands and stuff like that. You can see their colors were red, black, and green, Black Power colors, right? And I went up there and ignored all the other things in the stands, and I played at 13, right? I played a game that was just incredible. I was all over the place. And that was like, man, I can play. I can play in Los Angeles. I'm good enough to, you figure you can play in LA, you can play anywhere. This is 13 years old. So, as you continue to grow, at each level, there's something that happens that gives you confidence, right? So that was like a big boost then. And then I go to high school, and I'm playing, starting as a freshman, and I'm killing it as a freshman, right? And so my senior year, I'm getting accolades and stuff like that, but my senior year, what happened was that my coach, I was playing safety, and I like to hit everybody, hit everything that moved, guys. And my coach asked me to play quarterback, and I didn't want to. But I did as instructed. I went on the opposite side of the ball, and I fumbled the ball 8 times in a row on purpose, right? He kicked me off the team. Now, I'm the best player in San Diego, right? So as I'm walking home, I'm saying my dad is going to be so upset, right? And he did me one of the best favors, though. My dad didn't rescue me. My dad said, well, that's between you two.